I want to talk about the Canon T3i and the T4i. I've put up a chart that details the spec differences. I've put up a bulleted list that outlines the differences. And now I thought it would be nice to have a video where I kind of talk through the differences and compare these two cameras. To start with, from that distance, you all probably have a tough time distinguishing these two. Right now I have the same lens on, and it's very difficult to see any physical outside differences at first glance. I'm going to throw the Canon 18-135 on the T4i. We'll talk more about why in a second, but it also will help us quickly distinguish the two when I'm talking about them. The first change I want to talk about is on the dial. Video has now been removed from the dial where it sits on the Canon T3i, and it's now part of this switch, and it's just passed on. This is more than a placement change. Because you can now shoot video in any of these modes, from manual, all these creative modes, all the way around to fully automatic will let you shoot video, and that gives you a lot of control very easily. On the T3i with video on the dial, you need to go into the menu to make a switch between manual exposure and auto exposure controls of your movies. It's a little bit more cumbersome and not entirely user-friendly. So that is a difference at first glance that just looks visual, but it's actually fairly significant. Some slight restyling of the buttons, nothing huge there at all. All of the buttons are basically still there. The stereo microphone is on top of the Canon T4i. The T3i, of course, has a mono microphone that's right on the side. In general, I found the audio quality here to be very good. On the back of these two cameras now, the big difference, of course, is the Canon T4i offers a touchscreen. They're both articulated, but the difference being the T4i's is touch sensitive. This is something that initially I wasn't very excited about, grumbled a little bit about having to have the inclusion of a touchscreen, but in use I've really changed my opinion and really like it. I found myself using kind of a hybrid approach where I touch a button and then touch that option on the screen to select. But you can do all buttons or all touchscreen, and I think it makes it a lot more approachable and user-friendly for someone new to DSLRs to have this touchscreen, not have to spend a lot of time remembering what buttons do what. Inside the camera we have basically the same sensor on both, with the change being there's some differences now that allow continuous autofocus while filming on the Canon T4i, and that's why I stuck this 18-135 on. This is stepper motor technology in here, and it allows silent and continuous autofocus while filming. If you put a STM lens on the Canon T3i, like the 40, it will focus silently and do so quite nicely, but it will not continuously autofocus during video. You have to do a half press of the shutter to get it to do that. Before we go too far in talking about that, though, I have to mention that the ability on the Canon T4i is not entirely impressive. It's a little on the slow side. It is not nearly camcorder-like in its autofocus abilities. So it's there, it works, but it is not amazingly magical in its speed. The processor inside is a Digic 5 on the T4i. That's the latest generation. You have the Digic 4 on the T4i side. This allows slightly faster burst rate versus T3i. A little bit of a difference, 5 versus 3, 5 something versus 3 something. ISO, a little bit better ISO here, but truthfully in day-to-day shots, very little difference to see between the two of these. Hard to tell at all. In controlled lighting, T4i wins out in most cases, but it is very slight. One thing that they've dropped off of the T4i that the T3i had is the video zoom function. That's no longer in here. That is something that you can do while you're filming. You can zoom 3 to 10 times closer. You pair that with a nice lens, nice zoom lens, and during video you can get really close. I'm impressed with that quality. It's certainly got limited uses, but it's something you might want to think about. One other difference worth mentioning is that the T4i, all 9 of the focus points inside here are cross-type focus points, and on the T3i, only the center is across tight focus points. It makes the T4i a little bit more competent in terms of autofocus. So, where does this leave us? I think the T4i with the 18-135 is a great package. You have a very user-friendly touchscreen. You have the continuous autofocus, which although isn't amazingly fast, it does work. And when paired with the 18-135 lens, you have this really nice range, a great quality lens, and the stereo microphone. So there's a nice combination that's good, suited well for both photographers and videographers. However, the T3i now offers substantial savings over this. You could put that towards a nice lens or an external flash, and if you're primarily a photographer, you're not missing out on much from the T4i, especially if you're comfortable using the center focus point. So the final question is, which one is best for you? I can really only make that recommendation if you shoot me an email or leave a comment below. The more detailed information about how you shoot, what you shoot kids, you shoot wildlife, you shoot action sports, things of that sort. If you put those comments down below, I'd be happy to give you my thoughts or shoot me an email. The more detailed your information, the better a recommendation I can make. If you plan on buying from Amazon, please use my links down below. It helps me keep these videos ad-free. And I would like you to subscribe, like my Facebook page, and thank you for watching.